Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our refresher session for the English language. And it's good to see all of you here. Who's here? Ahuja. Why? Why didn't you give this week's mock? Gaurav is here. Who is this? Parasatya Ji. Okay, I hope I'm getting your name right. Hi Shweta, Naveen, Neeraj, Divya. Who logged in earlier? Sugeta, Anu, Nagini, Ashok, Reshmi, Anil is here, Murali is here, Chinnu is here. कौन है? Ravi Kumar. Are you new, Ravi Kumar? So if you guys are new, please let me know. Of course, we'd like to welcome you. Hi Vidya. Ahuja is out of town. Too much. Even if you're out of town, you've logged in. Are you showing me how dedicated and committed you are to these sessions? Good, good. Hopefully you have good range there. I mean, that you won't face any network problems. So I'm sure you guys are aware of the new platform, right? examprep.talentsprint.com, and I'm sure most of you have already logged into that platform. If you haven't, you should. Just to explore the changes, just to feel the difference, right? Well, you're going to receive a mail on that, Surya Prakash. Of course, it's going to be better OS, right? You'll have an option to bookmark the page. There are a lot more features added, but the best part is, you're going to get some additional perks as well. I'm not going to say that until you receive a notification on the same, which you will shortly. So just, watch that space. I'm good, Gaurav. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Okay, so let's get started. If you've been part of these sessions, you know the drill, you know what we do during these sessions, right? We take up all sorts of question types. We try and understand, but the objective is for us to constantly keep checking how we are doing in terms of our performance, right? If we are saying, hey, I've been regularly taking AIMs week on week, I have been participating, in these sessions, or I'm doing my own homework apart from these sessions. During the week, I do take time to practice on what my challenge areas are. If you are doing all of that, then these sessions will act as a, what did I say? Kind of checkpoint to see if you're really showing any progress, right? Some of the questions that we discuss here, if you get most of the answers right, which means you're on the right track. If you still continue to face challenge, and if, let's say, we discuss 20 questions, out of which you only got 5 questions correct, which means you're not having enough practice during the week, right? So I constantly keep saying this. You'll have to use these sessions as a checkpoint in terms of where your performance is heading, right? And I'm also sure that most of you, are applying for the SBI PO notification, which is released. Online registration started on Saturday. You have time till May 13th, but I urge you not to wait till the last minute, right? Finish it right now. Get that over with, get it done with, and then you can focus on the preparation. You have about, 2 whole months to prepare for that. The preliminary exam starts July 1st onwards. So you have a week, starting today you have a week and 2 months. That's good time, right? So, of course, we're going to have sessions for that, sessions around that, right? All you have to do is just watch the space in your events calendar. You'll know what sessions are happening when. What is that, Gaurav? Sorry, I'm not even looking at the chat screen. What is this big thing? Neeraj, ma'am, in this we came in close batch, they were given 2 options, answer by given like something, somehow to select the right answer in that type of questions. I don't know what the closed passage option was this week. AIM, I'll have to take a look at it, Neeraj. What is that, Gaurav? Can you tell me what that question is? I don't know. Did you put it up in the discussion forum? Okay, so by the time you type, I'm gonna move on. I'll keep looking at the chat screen so I don't miss out on what your question is. Yeah, but for the most part, nobody told me if you guys are new, so I'm assuming nobody's new. You've been here in the system for quite some time, and I have seen you guys. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. Hi, Soundarya. Pechirama is here. Okay, good. So let me share the PPT and we shall get started with. And most of you had come back and asked for reading comprehension, so we're going to spend time on reading comprehension today. Hi, Selvi. Amrita Uday is new. Welcome. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so reading comprehension, and today is going to be the day where you're going to break that myth of reading comprehension. No, let me not even get there. You're going to break that myth. The reason being, I'll tell you what the reason is. Hi, Dinesh. Let me show the PPT. Okay, so here we are. So it says here, India is the second most populous country with over 1.3 billion people. So obviously, if you look at the passage, okay, I think it's about, I don't think it'll be more than 600 word count, okay, this passage. But as always, for a reading comprehension question, we always kind of analyze the questions first, right? What do? Step 1, for those of you who are new. Hi, GV. For those of you who are new, right, how to approach reading comprehension. Hi, Roshan and Atadeep. Did I get your name right? Yeah. Welcome, welcome. The purpose of this new portal, Pechirama, is to ensure that you do not face any difficulties exploring stuff, finding stuff, network issues, all of that, right? Because we're transitioning to a better OS. So all of those challenges that you're facing will drastically come down, or you may not even face those challenges. And there are other features as well. You guys have to wait patiently. There's going to be a notification sent out to you. I'm sure you would have received an SMS. You'll also receive a mail detailing what those changes and features are. So keep looking at your mail. But right now you concentrate on the session. Shweta's new. Super. Welcome. Where were we? Skim. Soundarya says skim. So step 1 is to analyze the questions, right? Yeah, skim the questions. What do we gain out of that? One, we're looking for keywords in the questions, where we don't really need to read the entire passage. We can just skim for those keywords from the questions, right? 2 is we want to maximize our chances of acquiring scores. So the easiest question to quickly finish without even getting to the passage is vocabulary based questions, synonym antonym questions. That's another reason why we analyze the questions first, right? And then when we have time, we can go and read the passage and figure it out, especially questions that require you to do a complete skim, which is what's the title of the story, what's the author's opinion, blah blah blah. Okay, now let's analyze the questions. First question, which of the following statements regarding investment is or are true in the context of the passage? So obviously our keyword here is investment, right? Right, this is our keyword. Oops. Okay, hold on. Something's wrong with my pen. I'm just going to do something here quickly. say? Okay, there you go. Better? Okay, so not clear, ma'am. Kishore, change your resolution. Somebody feed in the YouTube link. So our keyword is investment, and this one is saying we're looking for positive detail. Okay, keep that in mind. And then we have a couple of questions which says, which of the following acted as a deterrent for investors at home and abroad? So obviously our keyword is investors, and then of course they're specifically mentioning at home and abroad. So this is something that we need to keep in mind. Answer, and it says answer in the context of the passage. Okay, why is the author so jubilant about India to grow rapidly? So I'm hoping everybody knows the meaning of jubilant, right? Which means what? Extremely excited, happy, right? Or very certain or sure of how India will grow rapidly, right? Again, very, very specific. So these are some of our keywords. We can scan for these keywords in the passage. Which of the following can be said about the author? Now this is a very skim question, which means I have to read the entire passage to have an idea about what the author is saying, right? Maybe one of the last questions that I will answer, because I may not have the time to read the entire passage, right? Which of the following is not true? So I have one question, negative detail. I'll keep this in mind. Again, something where I need to read the entire passage. Yeah. Why does the government of India want to nurture the economy? Okay. So again, some keywords, economy, nurture. We're talking about government of India specifically. We can look for it. What is the meaning of the phrase inter alia as used in the passage? Okay. So great. I have a highlighted word. I'm going to answer this. Even if I don't know the meaning, I'm going to look at the context. What is the meaning of the word roller coaster as used in the passage? Roller coaster, I know, right? Roller coaster ride is something, again, adventurous, exciting, all of that. But we also have to look at the meaning that the passage gives, right, about roller coaster. And then it says, choose the word which is most opposite in meaning. So some antonyms, I have turmoil and I have creaky. Okay, so that's about it. So these are about 10 questions that I have. So I'm going to quickly, the easiest question that I can answer is this first antonym question, right? Because turmoil is not a very difficult word. What is turmoil? Some sort of a disturbance, causing some sort of a, confusion, whatever. And I'm looking for an antonym. So I'm going to quickly answer this question because this is the easiest for me. I want to gain 1 mark before even reading the passage. My options are disorder, confusion, turbulence, peace, and strife. Can you tell me for this question, what can be the answer? Yeah, Shilpi says option D, obviously, right? Because everything else, disorder, confusion, turbulence, and strife are synonyms. So this has to be the answer. I already got 1 mark without reading the passage. Creaky. Creak, I've heard the word creak, right? Like if I say something is creaking, which means, it's about to break, or it's making a noise where, a creaking noise, you've heard that as an adjective, right? Creaky also has another meaning, which means something that is old-fashioned. Now you may not know the other meanings of this word. So let's look at the context quickly where this word appears, yeah? So I'm just going to go back right here. Let's read. It says, of course, they also feel that decisions and actions must move faster. But outsiders definitely recognize the limitations of a notoriously creaky implementation machine and of a noisy federal democracy, which means, again, limitations is your clue word, right? So limitations of something, and if I look at both these options, notoriously creaky implementation machine, noisy federal democracy, I know that creaky is bringing in a negative meaning for me. I may not even figure out, okay, what's the exact meaning of this, but another clue word is also machine. So if I'm saying something that is not functioning, something that is not working, right, has to be that. This machine that is implemented, whatever, and there could be many reasons for that, but I understand that creaky here is giving me a negative meaning because of the context. And if I go look at my options, right, I have antediluvian, new, oldie, worn, ancient, right? Anti again, I know is a word kind of related to something that is not new, right? The first option A, do you know the meaning of that? We're talking about something extremely old-fashioned, right? And again, we're looking for antonyms. All my other options, oldie, worn, ancient, all of them give me the same meaning, which means what? What can be the antonym for this word? See how we're figuring out the meaning even though we may not know. Yeah, so obviously option is B, right? That's the antonym. So I have 2 marks secured without reading the passage. All we did here is, hey, I may not know the word creaky. I may not know the different meanings because I know in English one word has 2-3 different meanings, right? Even though I don't know, I can rely on the context because thankfully in reading comprehension passages, whatever questions are asked for synonym antonym, they are highlighted in bold, which means I only have to pay attention to that particular context where that word is in bold. We just did that now, right? We applied, we looked at it, we saw, okay, fine, you know what, it's a negative word. And we looked at some clue words in that context and we figured out, boss, this is what it is, right? What is the meaning of strife? Pechi, you tell me. Strife. Without even looking at the context, is that a new and unfamiliar word for you? It could be for a lot of people, right? Whenever somebody is in strife, which means they are undergoing some sort of a negative emotion, right? It could be some sort of a trouble. You can be in some sort of a conflict, yeah? Some sort of a difficulty, right? Strife is not a positive word, right? There could be strife in your neighborhood, right? There could be strife within your workplace, whatever, yeah? So that's strife for you. Now, so we've answered 2 things. Let's look at the synonyms as well, right? There are only 2 synonyms. What is the meaning of the phrase inter alia as used in the passage? What do you think is the meaning? Again, this might be a completely new and unfamiliar word. So can we just look at the passage where it appears? Where does it appear? There you go. It's right here. Let's read. For sure, things were not good in June 2014. Growth had slowed. The world was also slackening. India faced a wide range of governance issues which, inter alia, shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. So this context is talking about, hey, you know what? There were a lot of issues that India faced, which, and then I have inter alia, shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. So if you are not familiar with this word, in the context also, you know, it's not very easy to figure out the meaning of this word. But this word basically means there were a lot of things that happened. That's the context before that word, right? India faced a wide range of governance issues, which, and then I have this word. Basically, this word means, hey, all those things happened, but among other things, right? Yeah. What happened was, shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. So apart from all of these things, there were other things also added to it, which shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. So inter alia actually means among other things, and that's in our option. Go to your option. Where does it? Not with great force, not without any doubt, not at all, or interestingly, but among other things. Yeah? Okay? So, I mean, a word like this, again, you know, you either know it or you don't know it, because in a context, you may not be able to figure it out. You know why? Because it's definitely not an English origin word, right? I'm sure it's a completely different origin. I mean, look at the word itself. If somebody can quickly find out the origin of this word, yeah, I mean, if I take a wild guess, you know, it has to be either Greek or Latin. It's definitely not English origin, right? So words like that, unfortunately, we either have to know the meaning or we don't know the meaning. Let's look at the next synonym. It says, what is the meaning of the word roller coaster as used in the passage? Again, I know what roller coaster is, but where is it in the passage? Let's look at the passage. Right here. Let's read. From the domestic viewpoint, it is important to recall that local businesses have literally been on an economic roller coaster since about 2012. Okay, I have my context. I have an idea. So some sort of a high, economic roller coaster since about 2012. But then again, let's look at the following context. Okay, it says they are therefore tottering under multiple pressures of capacity and debt overhang, poor exports and increased competition from imports. So if I look at my options, it says occur in a dramatically changeable manner, break-even point, spirited, slow down, other than those given as options. So from my context, and I also need to rely on my following context, right? Because it's saying they are therefore, so because it was on an economic roller coaster, what is the result of that, right? Therefore is a very important hint word. And after that, everything that follows is negative. Tottering under multiple pressures of capacity, debt overhang, poor exports, increased competition from imports. So if I have to look at all of these changes that are happening as a result of the economic roller coaster, what will be my option from the given options A, B, C, D? Sorry. Anubra, what's that word you've got? Give me the answer for this. GV says A. Kumar says A. Anybody else? Where is tottering coming, by the way? I mean, I can tell you what tottering is without a context, but you know, whenever I say somebody is tottering, I can just think of somebody who's very, what do I say, not steady, right? I always think of a child, like a kid, because I'm used to seeing my son when he was growing up, you know, like before he reached 1 year, he was tottering as an unsteady, right? Not stable. So where does it come in the passage? I don't know. Let's look at the passage. Where did you guys see tottering? Pata nahi. You guys need to tell me, okay, because after therefore. Okay. Tottering, okay, there you go. Thank you, Chinu. So they are therefore tottering under multiple pressures of capacity, which means they are not able to move forward in a manner that is positive, right? Tottering means somewhat unsteady, limited in the way it's functioning, right? It has to be that. And you can immediately relate it to a negative word because of the context, right? Even if you don't know the meaning, you're like, you can relate it to a negative word. No, Faisal, what do you mean? A lot of people have logged into the new interface, and that's why they are here. Huh? Okay, chalo. So we've completed. And what is the answer for that question, by the way? Did somebody give me? Most of you gave me A, right? Which is correct. Occur in a dramatically changeable manner. Yes, because roller coaster, you know, if I put 2 and 2 together with what information I have in the context and the information that I already know about a roller coaster experience, which means it's a dramatic change, a shift from something that is normal, right? So it's not a break-even point, because obviously a break-even point is a good thing, a positive thing. Spirited is a good thing, positive thing. Slow down here may not really result in the effects that the next context is talking about, but a dramatically changeable manner, yes. So that's the closest option for the meaning of roller coaster in the passage. Okay. So we've got what? 4 marks already. We didn't even read the passage, right? Good. Now out of 10, 4. So that leaves us with 6 questions. What is the next question that we can quickly look at? I'm only going to look at keywords, right? Let's look at the first question. It says, which of the following statements regarding investment are true in the context of the passage? So we're gonna search for investment, okay? And one of the ways, another strategy that I keep saying is to identify keywords, right? The best thing to do is to just look at the topic sentence and the closing sentence of each paragraph. Yeah? the topic sentence and closing sentence of each paragraph. Hold on. Somebody has a question. Who has that question? Sorry. So Anand Kumar says, hey, slow down. Why not slow down? I think for the other question, right? What was that? Meaning of roller coaster. See, like I said, a roller coaster as defined as a word itself, it can mean two things. I am enjoying something, but when I go on a roller coaster ride, the experience is heightened, right? Which means there's an extreme change. So in terms of that, I can't relate it to a slowdown. It's never something that is, what do I say, less energy. It's always something that's on a high. That's why the word dramatically, right, dramatically changeable manner relates to a roller coaster, because we're always talking about something on an extreme high, right? That's the difference, right? Imagine you being on a roller coaster ride. It's completely different from you just driving the car, right? Driving the car and being on a roller coaster ride is completely different. When you go to these, what do you call those? Game parks, theme parks, right? Yeah, so the difference is heightened. So it cannot be a slowdown, right? And we're talking about roller coaster in the meaning of roller coaster in the context. Yeah, we're not talking about what happened as a result of that economic roller coaster. A result of that economic roller coaster can be the slowdown, which the next context is talking about, right? Everything was like, it didn't go as expected. So the result of the roller coaster, economic roller coaster, can be a slowdown. Yeah, are you following me, Anand? So basically, just for Anand, just to put it in context, the economic roller coaster, which was a heightened thing of change, because of that, the result was a slowdown. Okay. Where are we? So yeah, we're looking at the first one. So like I said, going back to my strategy, I'm going to skim on the topic sentence, the closing sentence of each. Okay, let's see where investment is coming. India is second most populous country with over blah blah. The journey has challenges and growth is by no means guaranteed. For sure things were not good in June 20 blah blah blah. But at its core, investment remains an act of faith. I'm going to focus here because I have my keyword here. Okay, fourth paragraph, first line, there is something about investment there. Now let's look at my option. It says, which of the following statements regarding investment are true in the context of the passage? Three things are mentioned here. Only business attractiveness is not a sufficient condition for investment. Indian government has taken several steps to attract foreign investors. During the past few years, investment opportunities in India for NRIs and persons of Indian origin have been at an all-time high. Okay, so I'm going to read the context here. Okay, this paragraph, let's read. Business attractiveness is a necessary but not a sufficient condition for an investment destination. Systemic trust is critical for undertaking risk. Today, much comfort stems from government functioning with a greater sense of purpose. Never mind, even if the political environment forces it to keep articulating its balance between being pro-business and pro-poor, it is ultimately sound commerce that can provide livelihoods. Okay, not really giving me much of an information. So, I'm going to look for anywhere else, you know, is addressed or is referring or is talking about investment or investors. Yeah, I know you're giving me answers, but we're trying to figure out the option from the question, right? So this whole thing, right, it says here, Business attractiveness is a necessary but not sufficient condition for an investment destination. So I have an answer because this is addressed in my option A. Only business attractiveness is not a sufficient condition for investment. So I know this is true, pakka. Then it says Indian government has taken several steps to attract foreign investors. So which means I cannot look for only keywords in the question. I also have to look for keywords in the options. One of the keywords from my option B is foreign investors. So can I scan for that in the passage? Right, where else do I see the word investors, investment? Anywhere. Look at this. It says the external viewpoint, whether of foreign governments, economists, investors and foreign investors doing business here is overwhelmingly positive, be it on growth, policy direction or stated political will to reform the economy and generate livelihoods, which means point B, which says Indian government has taken several steps to attract foreign investors, we know is also true because it says here, these guys, the foreign investors doing business here has been overwhelmingly positive. How could that have been possible if the Indian government had not taken several steps to attract them? Hai na? Which means what is our answer option for this? What is our answer option for this? Shilpi says option A, Ahuja says option A, anybody else? B is also true, right? We just saw that. But again, some of the keywords from point 3 is about investment opportunities in India, where NRIs, persons of Indian origin. So I don't see any of my other keywords, anywhere in the passage. So I'm going to go with option A. Now, this is a risk that you will be taking, right? Yeah, this is a risk that you will be taking because if you don't read the entire passage, somewhere they might have mentioned about, investment opportunities for NRIs and persons of Indian origin. But when I did a quick scan, I didn't see any of these keywords mentioned there. So we are looking at only from the context of the passage, what is supported, right? Since these guys are not mentioned, I will eliminate option C. But if you're saying, ma'am, I don't want to take that risk, right? I want to be sure because every mark counts. I want to make sure I get this mark, which means you have to read the entire passage, right? Reading fluency. Your reading fluency should be like top speed where you understand what you're reading. And then you can be sure that, okay, boss, it has to be option A only. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is it's not a tricky one, actually, Anand. It's not a tricky one at all because option A and B is clearly supported from the passage. Option C, I don't have my keywords. I can't spot NRIs and persons of Indian origin at all, right? You can skip, of course you can, right? That's where you play smart in choosing the questions that you want to answer. If you're somebody who says, hey, you know what, I can't afford to take so much time in the exam where you will not have that much time, you have to skip this question. That's a smart decision. But if you're somebody who says, my reading fluency is awesome, boss, I can read the passage and quickly answer all these questions, right? I don't want to work backward. I'm just going to go the straightforward way. I'll read the passage and I'll answer all the questions because the ability for me to retain information, if I read it once, is enough. I'm that good. If you're that person, yes, go for it. Yeah, let's move on. Which of the following acted as a deterrent, which means something that is against, not for, right? Deterrent is our clue word. That's why I'm saying, Anubrat, if you don't want to take that risk, right, you have to read the passage. Investors at home and abroad. So that's our another key word, right? And if you happen to go through, we are only in the 6th question, Anubrat. Are you able to spot the keywords? In the third paragraph, right, look at it. It says here, I'm going to read. India, already something that we've looked at. The question is this, Ahuja, which of the, oh sorry, I didn't put the screen. Okay. Which of the following acted as a deterrent for investors at home and abroad? Answer in the context of the passage. Yes. Right? So, very clearly, yeah, sorry Gaurav, I just saw my face instead of the screen. So, we're here in this question, okay? Chalo. Now, like Shilpi pointed out, it's right here in the third paragraph, it says here, for sure, things were not good in June. Leave that. The second line, India faced a wide range of governance issues which, among other things, shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. There you go. My clue word from the question, right? My key word from the question is right there. So, what are my options? My options are a wide range of government issues, poor infrastructure and unskilled workforce, new foreign black money law with stringent punishments, the promise made by the PM for a corruption-free India, all of the above. What can it be? What do you think the answer is? I'm gonna show the context again, you tell me. There is a direct reference from that context, right? For you to choose the option. What will it be? That's okay, Shweta. Yes, Shilpi. Right, it's right there. It says India faced a wide range of governance issues which shook the faith of investors at home and abroad. Pechi, I just gave you the meaning of deterrent at the beginning when we were discussing the question. A deterrent is something that deters, which means what? Something that does not encourage, which means discourage, right? Something just doesn't get done because that is posing as a deterrent, a hindrance, a block, an obstacle. So our answer is option A, right? Nowhere, somebody said option B. Where does it talk about unskilled workforce and poor infrastructure? There might be implications of that. But here is very clearly saying answer in the context of the passage, and the context gives us or has our clue words very clearly. Hai na? So you can be sure that option A is the answer, right? Yeah? Are you guys with me? Let's look at the other question. You can use, okay, Faisal, just to answer Faisal's question, basically he's asking how to use inter alia, right? It just means among other things. So I can use it in any context. So I can say Talent Sprint provides inter alia mock tests, subject tests, full length tests and AIMs, right? So I'm saying Talent Sprint provides certain things, right? So the inter alia, meaning among other things, it provides all the tests that followed, right? So you can use it in a context which brings in the meaning of among other things, right? So this foreign trip entails inter alia, among other things, this, and a list follows after inter alia, right? So the foreign trip entails inter alia, you know, maybe a visit to the exhibition, right? So among other things, the foreign trip entails a visit to the exhibition. Yeah, just giving you random examples so you'll understand where to use it. Matlab, you can use it anywhere which brings in that meaning. Where were we? Why is the author so jubilant about India to grow rapidly? So what is our clue phrase again from here? We already saw the meaning of the word jubilant, right? Excited, happy, certain. India to grow rapidly. So let's figure out in terms of growth, right? Where is it talking about? Rapid growth. Huh? Look at the first paragraph, last line. Read. Powered by the intellect, energy and creativity of a young nation, India is certainly poised to grow rapidly. Again, my clue phrase is there in the last line of the first paragraph, right? Pay attention to that entire line. Powered by the intellect, energy and creativity of a young nation, India is certainly poised to grow rapidly. So having looked at this, let's go back to our options and see which is the right option. Which is what? Because India has large youth population, because many countries have agreed to invest huge amounts in India, because there is no dearth of intellect, energy and creativity in India. What is our answer for this question? Why is the author so jubilant about India to grow rapidly? What do you think is the answer? Reshmi says option E, which is because India has large youth population and because there is no dearth of intellect, energy and creativity in India. What do you guys think? Do you agree with Reshmi? I'm going to show the context again, okay? Shilpi says only A. Except Shilpi, everybody else agrees with Reshmi. Which is correct, no? Because young nation matlab what? It's referring to the youth only. And before the context, before that also if you see, this is for Shweta as well, Shweta and Ravi, right? It says more than 50% of people are below the age of 25 and in 2022, the average age will be below 30. Powered by the intellect, energy and creativity of who? The youth, the young people. India is certainly poised to grow rapidly, which means I have to factor in that India has a large youth population. That entire paragraph is talking about that. So it has to be option A and C because intellect, energy and creativity are also mentioned there. Powered by intellect, energy and creativity. All our keywords are there, right? So I cannot rule out option E. I mean option C, right? No dearth means Pechi, you tell me Pechi, I want you to apply context clues. You tell me, read that option C and tell me what do you think is the meaning of dearth? Because there is no dearth of intellect, energy and creativity in India, the author is jubilant about India to grow rapidly. So what can be the meaning of the word dearth? Arey yaar LC. I wanted Pechi to answer this. Surya. Not paying attention to either the chat. You tell me. Guys, you know what? Whenever somebody asks a question, don't give them the answer. That's not how they learn, no? Spoon feeding every time. I hate doing that. That's why when you guys post questions in the forum, right? If I'm in a good mood, I'll answer. But for the most part, I want you to think. Apply context clues, no? That's one of the strategies we've learned, right? Which means if I come across a new and unfamiliar word in a context, I will look for clues in the context and figure out the meaning. Is it so difficult for Pechi, Ramalakshmi and Surya to go online and type dearth means what? They can do that, right? Why are you making it so easy for them? Let them also learn, no? So the only way you will remember the meaning, I don't know if Ramalakshmi and Surya will remember the meaning of dearth after 3 months? Because you just gave it to them so easily. You made it so easy for them. How will they remember? Unless you do self-learning, you will not remember. Huh? Chalo. So we have arrived that E is the answer option. Which of the following can be said about the author? Sorry boss, I'll come back to this question later. It's a skim question. What's the next one? Which of the following is not true in the context of the given passage? This also, I have to read the entire passage. Why does the government of India want to nurture the economy? Okay, so I have some keywords, right? We're specifically talking about government of India nurturing the economy. Okay, let's look at it. So there are 3 more questions left. I am not looking at 2 questions because it requires me to read the entire passage, which is the negative detail question and what can be said about the author. So I'm jumping to this question. Why does the government of India want to nurture the economy? So I'm going to look for these clue phrases, right? Where is it? You tell me. Make them hard to get. Make them hard to get. Actually, exercise, let them also stimulate their brain. Let's read. Where is it? Let me search for where can I find Government of India nurturing. Are you able to spot those keywords anywhere? I found it. Did you find it? I found it. It's right here. It says here, I don't know which paragraph this is. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th paragraph. Okay, it says here, broadly speaking, because I found this, nurturing the economy, right? Broadly speaking, one perceives the pursuit of a 3-pronged strategy of nurturing the economy, enhancing India's global profile and standing, and attempting to improve daily lives of citizens. Super. There you go, right? So, what did I do? Where is it? What are my options? To build a positive perception in the eyes of the world, to enhance India's global profile and standing, to improve daily lives of citizens. It has to be all 3, no? Henna? All A, B, C. Which one is it? D. That's it. I have all of that answered. Yes? Are you with me? What do you say, guys? It has to be all A, B, C, right? That's what the context is. The context very clearly says that. That's it. That's my answer. So look at this, okay? Let's consider what we've done right here. 10 questions reading comprehension. 4 vocabulary questions I got without reading the passage. I also got in addition 4 more questions without reading the passage by only focusing on the topic sentence, closing sentence and scanning for these keywords from the questions, right? Which means I'm still saving time. But because leave out all our explanations and searching for it and all, but if you follow these strategies itself, why not B and C? It's all Baba. A as well. A kind of summarizes the whole thing, right? If look at B and C are positive in meaning, right? Enhance India's global profile and standing, improve daily lives of citizens. When we do this, obviously, it is going to build a positive perception in the eyes of the world. It's like A is summarizing B and C, right? And that's the only reason why the government would want to nurture the economy, right? So what I'm trying to say is, if I can get into the habit, right? If I can make it up. Now this will come only with practice, right? In terms of speed. In the exam, if I have to save time and if I have to move away from this mindset that reading comprehension is time consuming, I need to practice these strategies on a regular basis for me to get so good at it that I'm quick to spot keywords from the questions. I'm quick to scan these keywords in the passage, right? So this will come only with practice. I know the strategy. I'm aware of it. but I need to practice it to master it, right? And that's when I'm ready for a competitive exam. So what I would urge you guys to do is, if reading comprehension is a problematic area for you, if you're somebody who skips reading comprehension altogether, you have to practice these strategies. Step 1, vocabulary questions. I don't know the meaning, go to the context, read the context, look for clue words, figure out the meaning, get the answer. Step 2, apart from positive, negative detail and title of the passage, all of those questions which require you to read the entire passage, complete other questions where I only have to look for keywords from the questions, scan for those keywords, read the context around it, and I will get some more points. Chalo, ho gaya. Right? Even if I allot 5 minutes, 6 minutes in the exam for reading comprehension, I will still be able to get at least a minimum of 5 marks, if not all 10 marks. Why lose out on those 5 marks? Because every mark counts, right? People miss out on point percentage, whether it's your prelims or mains. You don't want that happening to you. So this is what you need to do. RC is not so easy if vocabulary is not good. See, that's why we are applying context clues. I don't know the meaning of, turmoil, for example. Some of you didn't know, right? I don't know the meaning, but I will look at the context and figure it out. But how can I reduce time? I need to be quick to spot clues in the context. Now that's a strategy, right? In one of our tips and tricks segment, I've shared context, identifying clues in the context as a strategy. That is a skill. A skill is something that you're good at. How can you get good at it? You have to practice it. That's when you'll get good at it, right? So Surya says, in these type of RCs, do we have to read the questions and look for the answers in the paragraph without reading it, or do we have to do it the other way around? This is like hearing the whole Ramayana story and asking, who is the husband of Sita? Boss, Surya. So what I'm saying is, you can do it either way, Surya, depending on what your competency and what your strength is, right? I'm saying you might have a problem with reading the entire passage, because that itself is like, gives you a headache. Such a long passage, I don't want to read, it's time consuming. Chalo, don't read it. Read the questions. Get some 4-5 marks in vocabulary questions. Move on. Right? Or if you're saying, madam, I have good retention. When I read once, I will understand. It's easier for me to answer the questions if I go that mode. Then do that. Read the question, read the passage first, answer all the questions. Right? My only concern is, most of us are not at that stage where we have great retention power. If I read once, I'll understand. I'll be able to answer all the questions. There are some people who are there. That's why they get through, right? Because they are at that level of proficiency or competency. So you can do either ways. Either ways is fine. Choose what works for you. That's what I'm saying, because you know what you're good at, what your strength is. If reading fluency is a positive for you, go for it. Go for the second option. If it's not, go for the first option. Okay. Super, Surya. Alright, we have 2 more questions, but just for the benefit of completing the RC, let's finish that. So basically, one of the questions is, what does the author think, right? What does it say? Which of the following can be said about the author? Options: the author is a social scientist. The author is apprehensive about the growth of India's economy. The author is confident about the growth of India's economy. The author is a well-known economist. Okay, see, having even looked at the topic sentence, closing sentence, answering all of these questions, I have an idea. I can rule out option A and D, because the passage is actually not talking about the author. It is addressing a concern, right? It's talking about India's growth, it's talking about economy, it's talking about youth, it's talking about some challenges that we're facing. So I have an idea. By the time I've completed all these questions, just paying attention to the topic sentence and closing sentence, I have an idea. I can rule out option A and D. I have to choose between B and C. If I look at B and C, right, Author is a well-known economist, Reshmi. I was just saying the passage is not highlighting about the author, right? It's highlighting an issue that India is facing. For the most part, yeah, I will also skip this question, Surya. Definitely. In reading comprehension, I'll answer all the 8 questions, I'll skip this question. If I have the time, I'll read the passage, but ideally I will skip this question, right? So 2 things. It either says the author is apprehensive or the author is confident. Now if I look at my passage also, right, if I focus on the first paragraph, second paragraph, again I'm just going to look at topic sentence, closing sentence, right? The first one he says, hey boss, you know, it's going to be predominantly youth. If we channel and direct them, then there is a possibility for growth. However, in the second paragraph, he immediately says, the journey has challenges and growth is by no means guaranteed. And then he says, but boss, if we work hard, blah, blah, blah. But for the rest of it, everything else, right? All of the other paragraphs also, if you look at it, see for example, another topic sentence, energizing an economy that had been slowing for over 2 years was a Herculean task. Only some actions yield quantifiable outcomes. Others can build positive perceptions when all actions are relentlessly pursued and executed. And then even if you look at the last 2 paragraphs, right, external viewpoint, domestic viewpoint as a culmination, right, summarizing the entire passage, if you look at it, both of them are giving us negative. Because it says, of course, they also feel that decisions and actions must move faster, but outsiders definitely feel, this is the external viewpoint, recognize the limitations of a notoriously creaky implementation machine and of a noisy federal democracy. Again, in the last paragraph, it says, again, it's something about negative, right? Because of the economic roller coaster, tottering, remember, struggling, unsteady, under multiple pressures of capacity and debt. So the entire context is very negative, culmination. So what can we say about what the author is saying? We can say that this boy is apprehensive about the growth of India's economy, right? What is the meaning of apprehensive? Anybody? Apprehensive means what? Kind of worried, right? Not sure where this is going to go, what's going to happen. I'm apprehensive about SBI PO exam. I don't know, I've applied. Yeah, you can be apprehensive about it, right? So that's what the author is feeling, and the entire paragraph, most of my topic sentence, closing sentence, he says, hey, I'm jubilant about India growing rapidly, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done, right? We have to channelize the youth, we have to power them, we have to steer them, but for the most part, it looks gloomy. The external viewpoint and the domestic viewpoint both are giving me a negative view. So, apprehensive, not confident. He's not confident. Okay? Option B. What's the last one? Which of the following is not true in the context of the given passage? Now, again, I wouldn't want you to, completely eliminate this question just because I said, you know, you have to read the entire passage to answer a question like that. You can also look at the options. Look at the options for this question. It says, option A, in 2014, the world economic growth was slackening. Again, you can also go backwards, right? Look at keywords from the options. There's a date, there's a year mentioned. I can look for that. India is projected to be the most populous country by 2050. Again, there's a year mentioned. I can scan for that. According to the author, sustainable growth is achievable through concerted efforts. I actually saw this somewhere in my topic sentence or closing sentence, or maybe the sentence just next to that or following that. I'm going to look for that. The rural economy has weakened over the years. Okay. We are looking at negative detail. What does the author not say? What does the passage does not support? So, just to rule out a couple of options, if I look at my, where is 2014? It says here, for sure things were not good in June 2014. So, in 2014 the world economic growth was slackening. That is true, right? Yeah, so this is true. Can't be option A. India is projected to be the most populous country by 2050. I again saw 2050 right here in the first paragraph, right? But what does it say? It says we are projected to be the most populous nation by 2022, and the population is expected to reach 1.6 billion by 2050, which means ideally it should be 2022 and not 2050. So that is false, right? This should be our answer basically, but let's look at the remaining two options. According to the author, sustainable growth is achievable through concerted efforts. Yes, I saw that. Where is that concerted efforts? The keyword. I saw that somewhere. There you go. See, second paragraph, after the first sentence, topic sentence, it says, but with concerted efforts, I believe, blah, 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 blah. Which means that is also supported by the passage. Right? So this is true, out. And the last one, the rural economy has weakened over the years. I don't think the passage addresses this at all, because I didn't see rural economy anywhere as a keyword, which means the passage doesn't even talk about this. Yeah, you tell me if you have been able to spot rural economy anywhere, because I didn't. So I would safely say, you know, even if it's there or not, I can safely say that option B is not true in the context, right? And I don't have like only A and B, B and C like that. So I can just close my eyes and select option B as the answer. That is the one that is not true in the context of the given passage. That's it. Yeah. So Harshad and Praveen and all who said D, you need to go back and check and verify and make sure that the passage is supporting that. Where does the passage even address rural economy? And it says has weakened over the years. I don't know. So I will choose option B, which is a sure set answer. Why? Because the passage is saying by 2022 and not 2050. That's it. So even in a case where, so basically what I did is I did not read the entire passage. Did you see the learning from this is, I did not read the entire passage, boss. I answered all my 10 questions without reading the passage. This is an art, this is a skill, and it will only come with practice. क्या है boss? आपका question क्या? I don't know what your question is, Anand. Did you type your question? What is your question? Ma'am, how to take when GP of antonyms in mass vocab context is helpful in it or not? Okay, now I saw your question. Ma'am, how to tackle spelling. How to tackle when, what is GP of antonym and synonym mass vocab context is helpful in it or not? I didn't understand your question. What is GP? I don't know. Okay, I'm figuring it out, okay. Basically, you're asking how to get the answer from antonym synonym questions, whether the context is helpful or not. Is that your question? Yes, context is helpful. Always. 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 I've answered your question 3 times. So Harshit comes back and verifies that, hey, it's not mentioned about rural economy. Thank you, Harshit. So which means we can safely say that option B is not true. Ma'am, what you will say about this type of question, should we answer or skip? Same as Surya's response. I answered this question for Surya. Same question, just remodified, repackaged and presented. So, ek kaun hai? I am Bablu Bhai. What you will say about this type of question should be answer or skip? Answer. But the strategy that I used is, I looked for keywords in the options because they were year mentioned, right? 2014, 2050, 20, it's easy to spot in a passage. When I scan, it's easy to spot. So, yes, you can answer this question. Kyun? I can close now if you want. Pushpak. Do you have to go somewhere? Tell me. I'm very hungry actually. Where were we? So, basically, spot theory or phrase replacement. Anubrat, go through the entire comprehension or skip. You guys are coming up with your own strategies. Shrutans, I am taking sessions week after week. Good to see you after such a long time. Because I haven't seen you. Huh? Anand Kumar. Okay, when asked group of synonym and antonym as an option, ma'am, how to solve it? You put one example question in the discussion forum, no? I will answer. Oh, Tanya. Tanya, you just changed your name. Boss. What is this? New platform, new name, huh? How will we know? Anyway, welcome. Chalo. Shall we move to the next question type, or somebody wanted to close this session? Please tell me. I am always hungry, so I am game to close this session. We have time actually. It's supposed to be 6 to 8 actually the session, so we have time. We look at some spot theatre. Pechi Ramalakshmi, you wanted, no? I don't know what the next question type is. Let's see. So we're done with reading comprehension. The next one is a close passage. If India is dashed to the top in badminton, है ना? Close passage. Five blanks. You want to do this? What's the next one? Then we have spot theatre. Hey, Joshkant, we did those type of questions in our previous sessions. You were absent. You miss all those sessions and then you come on another session and ask to take that. I mean, I'll take that, no problem. We can include that in the next session. But go back and just look up the other refresher sessions. No, we just did a lot of phrase connectors. In fact. Wow, Reshmi, I'm really hungry now. Okay, chalo. Let's do this. Close passage. Let's do this, guys. Skim the entire passage. Skim it. I'm giving you time. Only 5 blanks are there, and I think it's going to be pretty easy. Hopefully. Read. Your time starts now. Skim the entire passage so we have an idea of what words we need to choose. Yeah. For a passage like this, you shouldn't take more than a minute. So I'm timing you. Stopwatch on. Start. Now. Keep on the first blank. Sorry. Okay. There you go. Kept. Pechi. General awareness. You didn't know this? Yeah, GV, it's pretty easy, no? But I don't think everybody got 5 out of 5 in the test. So I'm trying to figure out where you guys went wrong. Let's look at the first one. If India is dashed to the top in badminton for both men and women, something we have never achieved, it is an occasion to be celebrated. Options: touring, riding, drifting, driving, traveling. Okay. From the given options, we can say logically, we have to remove A and E. Touring, Touring and traveling doesn't make sense. Drifting also doesn't make sense, right? Drifting, what is to drift? Like, you're listening to me and then your thoughts are drifting away, which means you're thinking about food because of Reshmi, right? Or you're just thinking about plans for the night or maybe tomorrow or whatever, right? Drifting. So that's not the meaning the context is giving. I have to choose between riding and driving. If India is driving to the top or riding to the top, what's the logically driving to the top doesn't give me the context. Is look at the context. The context saying if India is dashed to the top in badminton for both men and women, something we have never achieved, it is an occasion to be celebrated. So we're talking about again something on a high, right? Something that we've never achieved. So think of something fast paced. Think of something on an accelerated mode. What will you choose? Will you choose riding or driving? Right? I mean, both can go on accelerated mode, but usually, right, in a context, in fact, riding to the top is an expression. I wouldn't say it's a collocation because not a lot of them know it, but riding to the top means drifting is not the correct answer. I think the answer option was wrong. Riding to the top, yeah, that's our answer actually. So when you say something is, what can I say? Riding to the top, what you actually are looking at is in terms of, something on a high gear. Are you guys with me? We're talking about something, where are we? Yeah, we're talking about something that is happening or developing in a particular way. And in this context, riding to the top as an expression, that is more appropriate, option B. I'm guessing a lot of you are not familiar with this expression, right? Driving to the top really doesn't give me that connotation of accelerated action. Moving on, choose the appropriate weight for 2. So in 1980, Prakash Padukone dash our greatest badminton options, however, being probably perhaps unlikely. This is the most easiest option I would say. Yeah, it has to be Girish, probably, right? Because we don't want anything that is bringing some sort of a doubt, which is all the other ones. However is contradicting, can't be that. Perhaps, meaning again, perhaps always brings the meaning of there is a possibility, but we're saying he is one of the greatest badminton players, right? Unlikely again can't be. It has to be probably. It can't be A, no? MSCST. What sort of a name is that? PH14 MSCST. I'm very curious now. Please explain your chat name. Wait. I want to see your chat name. PH14 MSCST 11009. Let's take a break. Please explain. So in 1980, Prakash Padukone, probably he must have been, right, one of our greatest badminton player, won. And look at the context, it's giving us a positive context. He won the Danish, Swedish and the All England Opens. So obviously I cannot bring in a negative or contradictory word. I will eliminate option A. In fact, that will be the first option that I will eliminate. Oh, like that. Oh, you poor thing. I'm sure you have an option to do that. Right to support. Nikunj. Okay, I'll remember your name. Nikunj. Okay. So where are we? So it cannot be anything else, right? It has to be probably. Let's move on. Unsurprisingly, he's one of the 2 coaches who have changed. And look at the whole context. He's talking positive about him. He's one of the 2 coaches who have changed Saina's game for the better. The world has changed for Indian sports. Globalization has Boss, Pechi Ramalakshmi, we're talking about 1980. Being is current. Tense issue. I can't use being, no? I'm saying in 1980, Padukone received the award. He must have been one of the greatest players, right? So how can it be being? How can I bring in a present continuous tense there? Doesn't make sense, no? Tense issue. Grammatically, I can't use being, okay? There, GV. Solution. Problem solver. Where are we? I actually forgot about that option. Of course, you can change your name. Thank you, GV. Where were we? So, Ramalakshmi, are you with me? Now, globalization has options: cured, helped, advised, comforted, handed in better training along with the best in the world. What can it mean? The world has changed for Indian. Globalization has? Logically, what can it mean? Okay, the following context will help you with identifying the option for this blank 3. Can you read the following context? Tell me what the clue word is. See, if I have to use my own word in that blank, I will say, boss, globalization has contributed in terms of better training along with the best in the world. And the next context saying the entry of corporate sponsorship has helped every game. Helped is our answer. Not cured, not advised, not comforted. Why would you even think of option D, comforted? That's a completely different word, no? I cannot apply it in this context at all, boss. What is the meaning of hand in as a phrasal verb? Hand in. It's like I was doing some assignment work and I handed it in, giving it in, reporting, submitting. That's not the meaning the context wants, right? Look for, understand what the context is, right? And somebody said option E, handed. No, handing in something means submitting as a phrasal verb. Look up hand in as a phrasal verb, what meaning it brings. That's not the meaning we need in this context. Globalization has helped in better training along with the best in the world. Let's move on. India was known to have been a single sport country. See, no wonder, even if it seems easy, this passage, I think GV or somebody came back and said, hey, very easy. But we still have people making mistakes. Why? Because you're not understanding the context meaning. You're not looking at options and seeing words before and after the blank, right? It helps in forming collocations. Handed in, hand in, phrasal verb. What is the meaning? I'll have to relate to things like that. I have to apply all my knowledge for one blank in a closed passage, right? Moving on, India was known to have been a single sport country defined by cricket. The fortunes of players like Tendulkar were made by the tons of cash that dash into the game. After our World Cup victory in 1983, I'll give you a clue. Nagini, I just explained why not handed. Okay, so okay, I'm just taking this feedback. From the comments, I realize that the new one is not having that option for you to change the name, is it? Let me take it up with support team. Yeah, good that you guys brought it to our notice. But I was under the impression you can, but you're saying not. Chalo, I will also experiment and then get back to you guys. Yeah, so what are my clue words for the options? See, I already have different answers for blank 4. Some people are saying C, some people are saying A. Huh? See, what are my clue words? The fortunes of players like Tendulkar were made by the tons of cash. So, cash is a clue word, right? That dash into. Cash, dash into. This is another clue word for you. Look for a word that will go with into? Huh? Look for a word that will connect or associate with into, which means I'm looking for a collocation. So will it make sense if I said flowed into, discharged into, flooded into, moved into, or outflowed? That's another clue, right? Pratyusha, very good. That's why I pointed out cash as a clue, which means what? Cash flow. Yes, that's another collocation for you. See, when I say flooded, I don't need into again. It's redundant in meaning. Flooded itself means something that is coming in a large volume, right? I already have that in meaning factored into flooded. I can't say flooded into. Incorrect collocation. Grammatically incorrect. Superfluous in meaning. So sorry. Cash flow, the tons of cash that flowed into the game after our World Cup victory. Flow into is another phrasal verb. है ना? No. Soundarya. How can hand in means peep in? Peep is a different word, no? What is the meaning of peep? To peep. To peep and see what someone's doing. To slyly look, right? That's not the meaning, no? Chalo. So flowed, A. Let's move on. Last blank. Reading. India now has leagues for hockey, football and kabaddi. Besides cricket, a new segment is flourishing in the entertainment industry. After decades of stagnation, the times are changing for Indian sport. Let it dash and get the kids out to play. What are my options? What about outflow, Pechi Ramalakshmi? What about outflow? You tell me. Outflow again is something overflowing, right? An outflow can be some sort of a discharge, right? An outflow can be some sort of a discharge. Yeah, it depends on the context again, and it can bring in different meanings for me, right? An outpouring of something, yeah. So flood, right? There are different meanings based on the context. So yeah, where are we? Fifth blank. Let's look at the fifth blank. Choose the appropriate word for, yeah, so after decades of stagnation, if the times are changing for Indian sport, let it, definitely I need a positive word, right? Because the context is saying, get the kids out to play. After decades of stagnation, if the times are changing, so they're saying, boss, there's a period where there's inactivity, the focus was only on cricket, but now they have explored, they've experimented, they moved on to, other sports are gaining importance in India. So after stagnation, if the times are changing, then for Indian sport, then let's ensure that it is on a roll. That's an expression again. To be on a roll is to be, again, have you heard informally people say, so let's say you're planning for a party or an event, and then, somebody says, okay, let's roll, which means let's get to it, let's do this, right? That's what it means. As an expression, it's a very informal expression, let's roll, right? And not a lot of Indians use it because they don't know. Yeah, but that's the meaning. So here, and get the kids out to play. So I can obviously eliminate all my negative options, which is stagnate, shrink, and turn just doesn't make sense. And whirl, to whirl. What is to whirl? Yeah, we're not talking about dance moves here. So whirl is not an appropriate word. Let's roll. That's the word. Okay. Praveen Kumar. To flow, the river flows into the sea, right? We're talking about a transition, right? Outflow is overpouring, outpouring. That's a difference, right? Very simple. The words itself explain. If you want to understand the meaning of words, put it in a context. Simple. You will understand the meaning of words. It's not a very difficult word, right? Both these words. You just have to put it in context to figure out the meaning. Yeah. Let's look at error type questions. Cool. So we're done. Closed passage is done. Let's move on. So the answer for this is C, not whirl. And here we are. Error. Spot the error. A nationwide survey has brought up an interesting finding regarding infant mortality rate in India. Do you think this question has an error? Hey, Bablu bhai, why are you taking tension, boss? Am I going too fast for you? Do one thing. Watch this session again in slow mode. You have an option to decrease the speed, right? Decrease the speed and watch it. I'm not joking. I'm serious. Do that. No, I can't close session, Kumar. There are only like 4 or 5 questions in spot theory. We'll finish that. It will finish in 10 minutes. If you want to go, you go. You can watch the session later. No problem. Interesting. Hey, no, why? Okay, let me look at the answers. Most of you have come back and said 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Really? Kyun? Chinnu says 3. Let's look at it. Let me put the question. A nationwide survey has brought up an interesting finding regarding infant mortality rate in India. But because most of you said option 2, right? Interesting finding. What's wrong with interesting finding? Do you think finding is not a noun? Guys, finding is a noun. FYI. Finding means what here? In the context, what does it mean? It's a discovery. Right? If somebody says, you know, this has been an extraordinary finding, what they mean is this has been an extraordinary discovery. So that's the meaning that the context is giving, right? As per word class, it's the right form. It's a noun. Interesting is the adjective describing the finding, which is the discovery. A nationwide survey has brought up an interesting finding regarding what? Infant mortality rate in India. So I don't find anything wrong with option part 2 and part 3, right? But the part where I find a problem is with, most of you immediately come back and say no error, no error, no error. But there is an error. There is an, okay, let me do this, okay. I will give you a clue. There is an error in part 1. Find what the error is. There are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 words. Where do you think the error is? Anubrat, I will explain. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to explain Anubrat. Okay, Anubrat says, interesting in finding. Somebody can be interested in finding something. Okay. And I want you to pay, it's a noun phrase, Baba, altogether. An interesting finding. Just to give you guys clarity, okay. An interesting finding is a noun phrase, right? A noun phrase has an article, and sometimes it will have an adjective describing the noun, and finding is my noun, which is the discovery. So, as an expression, this is absolutely fine. It is a noun phrase. Okay. So, yes, Anand Kumar, thank you. What is wrong with that bird? Brought up. What is wrong with that? This is my phrasal verb, no? The survey has phrasal verb it says brought up something. That something is the interesting finding. So the noun phrase is correct, right? It is not saying that the survey can't be interested in finding something. That doesn't make logical sense, right? A person has to be interested in finding something. Whoever said interested in finding, right? Now, what is the meaning of brought up as a phrasal verb? To bring up somebody means to take care of them, no? I brought, my grandfather brought up all of our, all of my cousins. We are 10 in number. That makes sense. But here, what is this saying? What is the meaning I need in part A? A survey, it brought in. Think. Will you say brought up? Or what will you say? Okay, I will give you the meaning. You tell me the phrasal verb, okay? Yes, born and brought up in. Yeah, so it can't be brought up, no, in the context. A nationwide survey has basically exposed something to us, which is the interesting finding. So think of a phrasal verb which brings in the meaning of exposed, brought to light. What phrasal verb will you use? Very simple. Just instead of up, what preposition can I add or what adverb can I add to brought, which will bring in the meaning of exposed or, made known? Yes, GV. Brought out. That's my answer. Right? It's an incorrect phrasal verb in part A. Let's go back to the context. It is not brought up, it is brought out, which means it made known. The survey exposed the interesting finding. The survey made known the interesting finding. Right? It's a phrasal verb error. It is not brought out. It is not brought up, it is brought out. Okay, super. Next. So a nationwide survey has brought out an interesting survey, has exposed it, has made known. Clear? The finding is about infant mortality rate in India. Khatam ho gaya. You with me? Let's look at the next one. As soon as I will reach Patna, I will send you the books you have asked for. As you read it only, you know where the error is. Tell me where the error is fast. Let's finish this. I think I lost you guys there for a second. So basically, it's almost like a conditional statement, right? There's a how do I know it's a conditional statement? It says as soon as so I will be able to send you the books only once I reach Patna. So in a conditional clause, obviously I can't have future in both the clauses, right? Because the first clause is I have to reach Patna, boss. Then as soon as I do that, then I will read this. Yeah? So as soon as I reach Patna, I will send you the books. This is an easy one. Part A is where the error is. Very obvious. Let's move on. One of my good qualities is that I do not take things like this very seriously. I don't know if that's a good quality or a bad quality, but let's look at this. One of my good qualities is that I do not take things like this very seriously. Where is the error? Kya asked for? What do you want explained in that, Praveen? As soon as I reach Patna, I will send you the books you have asked for. Sorry, GV, I got confused with Praveen's question. Okay, I will project the next question, but explain asked for matlab? Yeah, so a lot of you are coming back and giving me option 1 saying noun number error, which is correct because my clue is one of my, which means one of many, right? Surya, stop it. Brought up and brought out are not the same. To bring up somebody is to rear, to take care of. That's a completely different meaning. Look it up. Google. Brought up, brought out. Look at all the meanings. Okay. Now, one of my good qualities, yes, right? Because we know that. So this is a noun number error. Sorry, why is my N looking like V plus N? No, asked for is not a phrasal verb. It's just in terms of context. You know, you asked me for something and I'm going to give it to you, right? So whatever you asked for, I'm going to hand that over to you. That's what it means. So these are not phrasal verbs. It just completes meaning of the context that you're referring to. That's about it. Infant, where? Sorry, Reshmi, let me look at it. Where is infant? No, it doesn't have to be. I'll tell you why. Because it seems like it's addressing something specific, but it's about the survey talking about this particular concept, right? Even if you don't write the, grammatically it still makes sense. Infant is correct as it is. You don't have to put the in front of infant because it's understood. That's the only thing that is mentioned there in the context. So I don't think you have to add the definite article there. Not required. So this we've established the fact that quality becomes qualities, noun number error, one of my being the clue phrase. Moving on. A housing society comprises of 8 blocks and 48 flats in an area of about 1000 square meters. Where is the answer? So basically I have 1, 2, 3, all parts. So just to answer, whose question was that? GV. The area is not specific, they've just given the dimensions of an area, so it can be any area. In an area, some area which has 1000 square meters, right? They're being generic, not specific. So in an area of about 1000, so they're saying a housing society comprises 8 blocks and 48 flats in an area, right? Equivalent to an area that has 1000 square meters. So that is fine. You don't have to say in the area. Not required. But Some of you are saying no error and all, which is incorrect. The error is in part A. This is to do with comprises. Comprises itself means consists of, right? So, of as a preposition after comprises is redundant in meaning. We don't need that. Superfluous in meaning. So, the error is in part 1. We delete of. Right? This is something, this is not a new error. We've looked at this error multiple times in the past, which means you just need to practice it more, right? To register, retain. As soon as you read the context, that is the most obvious error. You don't even have to scratch your head to find an error. That is the error right there. It being a pleasant morning, I decided to go out and walking in the garden. Again, here, as soon as you read the question, you know, right? This is the part that sounds awkward. This is the part that sounds funny. Which part is that? Sorry guys. So what I was saying is, I'll tell you, I will repeat what I said, Faisal and everybody else. So I was saying, Nangini said I'm hungry. So I'm saying I found ways to have some input in between the session. I was thinking to myself, just because you guys are watching me and listening to me, right, you have the liberty to eat because I can't see you. But I decided me teaching or taking the class shouldn't limit me wanting to appease my hunger. So I found ways to do that. That's what I was saying. So those of you who came back and said part 1, there's nothing wrong with part 1. It being a pleasant morning, right? I decided to go out. Not on walking in the garden, right? As soon as you read the sentence, you know, part 3 is so weird. It has to be to go out for a walk. That's it. For a walk in the garden. No, not every time you don't see me I'm eating, but I found ways. So the error is in part 3. Okay. Go out for a walk. That's it. For a walk in the garden. Done. Not for walking. Ye kaun hai? Ramalakshmi. You are going to be under scrutiny. Just like that. You have come under my radar. I'm going to catch you for everything now. Sandwich, GV. Vegetable sandwich. I would have preferred a chicken sandwich or something, but it's not available in the canteen here. Only vegetarian food is served here. So I make do with it. So that's it, guys. That was our last question. Yay, Nagni, you can go eat now. And I will also go and eat dinner, have dinner. So for once, I think I'm not going to give you any gyan towards the end of the session. I'm just going to let you go. Bye, guys. See you. Today's Monday. Whenever the next session is scheduled. I will see you then. And welcome to all those who are new again. It's so good that you chose to join us. We shall continue to have fun and most importantly learn through the fun, right? That's the objective. Learning is key. So take the AIMs and yeah, that's it. Bye.